I was birthed in the mountains under the sun. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. We are living the dream together out here on the road, and our love takes center stage at every single show. But lately you've been distant, and I don't know what for. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. Something's changed, you can't see my face in the crowd no more. We were made for each other to hold on to. I was carved out of redwood beneath your moon.
Hi and welcome back to the channel. This is interesting. I just unboxed a Altrider Handlebar System. It is with the AMPS and optional handlebar risers in the package. And as you see, I have never missed handlebar risers on the 790 or the 890 platform. I actually think it's a very good position where I found myself to twist the handlebars accordingly to my riding style. Mix between sitting and standing, of course, on an adventure bike. But I got very curious because this handlebar system looks really awesome in how it's made. And as well, there are other use for it, for just the system itself. But I'm also curious what the handlebar riser could do, even if I'm happy, actually. Because I had handlebar risers on my 690, so I've not been riding with any handlebar risers since 2019, when I got the 790 R. But I'm curious. And the best thing is you can choose if you think you need them or not in this handlebar system from Altrider. So yeah, I think I will bolt them on and see what's happened here, if my riding position gets totally out of whatever, and also how it interacts with my rally towers when rising them. I'm very, very curious, so stay tuned. Well, here you can see that one of my favorite positions is like in the middle of position 1 and 2, forward twisted handlebar. Well, let's see how that works with the handlebar risers. The interesting part is to mount these 30mm risers together with the longer bolts that you get in the package, and see how that affects my wires to the handlebar, if I have room for these 30mm or not. That will be really interesting. Well, let's see how it goes. One thing that I also want to point out is that I have moved my handlebar risers that comes from KTM originally. I have moved them to the most forward point. When the bike is new, it comes in the middle point, I think. You can also mount it closer to you. We could talk a little bit more about that because it's important for your ergonomics, of course, but also how you want your steering geometry to work, and that is aligned with the forks, and it's it's a science in itself, and you need to figure that out. But I could explain some parts of it that could be important to know. Immediately I could see that, just put these bolts there just to line it a little bit. These handlebar risers are a lot wider than the original risers down here, so I expect the handlebar with a wider grip over it will be a lot less flexible. So less flex on the handlebar is to be expected. Don't know if that's anything I will feel actually. I will tighten it a little bit firmly here, the lower bolts first, because I have the gap on the front end. I have lined it again in the position that I like to have it before, at position number 1, twisted forward. Somewhere between position 1 and 2, forward twist. I will have it in that position again right now. Okay, I will look again somewhere there. I think I have the position I like. Just clamp it a little bit. Just tighten it firmly, just to get the feeling of how this feels in this position. You could also see at the handlebar system, at the overclamp, it has the AMPS bolt pattern in both directions. It also have 2 6mm threads, the holes for the ram mount bolts. So you get 2 of these bolted here if you need to. I actually used to have a round mount ball on my handlebar. At least I had it before, because I used it for different things. Now I have this clamp instead that I could remove quickly for my 360 camera, and I also have this quick connection for my phone. It's from Peak Design, really awesome. We could have a look at that as well. But this is how it looks. It actually looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? Let us try out how I feel the position right now, and as well how it interferes with the wiring and so on when I twist the handlebar, and eventual interference with my Rade Tower. I actually had that before on my turn signals. So alright, so let's see. Wow, yeah, it's definitely higher. Definitely higher. Okay. Not sure what I like this, but pretty cool. Probably on the transport it's a little bit high. I felt that on my 690 as well. That I have handlebar risers on between 2014 and 19, so 5 seasons. But I think the 690 needed it. Never felt it that the need on the 790 and 890 platform. Okay, so the interesting thing is this good? Oh, now I twisted it. Need to tighten it a little bit more, like that something. Okay, well, of course it's convenient. Let's see, I have my position on the bike. Of course it's a lot more convenient in this position when you're like a meerkat. Okay, so so on the transports that you will feel a difference. Now we will see how it interferes with there's actually a lot of room for my wiring, and I think it got better as well when I mounted the tower instead of the original setup on the bike. Okay, this is actually cool, because my original setup with the original height and the most forward position in this in the bolt pattern for the clamp actually interfered with my turn signals. it doesn't with the 30mm risers. So that got better at least. Wow. Okay, cool. Another thing that is important, something that is interesting when you line up your handlebar and risers or your handlebar twist, is the line of your fork. And I could easily see when I twisted it to the position 1 or between the 1 and 2 forward twisted, I do not really get a straight line in the handlebar's bend here. A straight line to my fork. Not really, but I have a straight line with my handlebar centered in the most forward position though. That is interesting. So if I have the handlebar in the position 0, then the bend should be pretty much lined with the fork here, and it is. But with it like this, you more get the motocross feeling of a handlebar, because as an adventure rider, it depends what kind of adventure riding you're actually riding. Do you come from the motocross side or the enduro or rally side into the ADV, you will probably prefer different handle settings. You could correct me if I'm wrong here, but the motocross riders, they most often want to have the handlebar a little bit twisted with the hands more like this. I'm exaggerating right now, like it is in the neutral position. But for ADV or for enduro style of riding, I would prefer to have it a little bit up twisted like this, something like that, between the number 1 and 2 position, because I get a totally other flexibility between the sitting and the half sitting and my front forward leaning. You could also feel it in your controls that you could of course adjust separately on your handlebar, which I really recommend, but you can also twist your handlebar a little bit towards if you're doing transport or if you are doing tougher trails where you move around on the bike. So I think number 1 or 0 position is of course very nice as well on transports, definitely. And this one position is what I like for the more active riding. Move it a little bit forward, and this is something that you need to figure out for yourself, okay? I like it this way, but this is just my static feelings of what I like the handlebar risers or not. I need to ride, so let's ride the bike and see what I like the risers. Okay. Right, a really quick summary on this, and what do you think? Is the ball risers a keeper? Yes, it is. It doesn't get you a better rider or worse rider. It actually just something to get used to. And I really like the ergonomics of the bike now when I tried it on the curvy asphalt and some really nice gravel roads. And yeah, all in all, with no interference with the turn signal, you get the handlebar up a little bit. It didn't affect my riding position that much there, I think, if it was harder or easier to get in an aggressive position, rather the opposite of what you could think. I really actually liked it, so it's a keeper. It will stay on the bike, really nice. I will also have a little bonus in this video. This bracket we could definitely use for a lot of great things, with the ram mount ball and this AMPS system and so on. So you can bolt on a lot of things that you need here. Your navigator, most common actually, and your camera gear and so on. I just don't really need it right now for my camera gear. I was thinking about mounting my drone control there, but since I have this peak design, super easy, fast connection for your phone and holder, I'll just show you how that works. This is my drone control. I just click it like that and it sits. Just like that, and it sits. Off like that. On like that. And that definitely sits there super robust. I used to have my phone there actually sometimes when I not wear it on me. Just wanted to show you this. You could do a fastener like that on this bracket as well, but it's super handy with a peak design mount to just do like that. How easy isn't that? Huh? Alright, that was the bonus.